Hey, Barrett Edelstein here, your celeb expert and your Celeb Savant. Celeb Savant is a weekly entertainment show. We have long-form career retrospective type interviews with celebrities, singers, actors, and industry experts. Jann Klose is an award-winning pop singer and songwriter who has released 7 albums and 2 EPs. Klose was raised in Kenya, South Africa, Germany, and the United States. Singles from his latest album, Surrender, have accumulated over 5 million streams across all platforms and charted on top 40 radio in the US and South Africa. He has performed as an actor and singer in touring companies of Broadway musicals, including Jesus Christ Superstar, Jekyll and Hyde, and The Who's Tommy, as well as made-for-TV movies, voiceovers, and commercials. Jann tours year-round in North America, Europe, Africa, and Asia, and has opened for and collaborated with a wide range of artists, including Pat Benatar, John Oates of Hall & Oates, Suzanne Vega, Renaissance, and Annie Haslam, The Yardbirds, and Jim McCarty, Rosa and Cash, and many more. Jann has previously joined me on the Celeb Savant podcast to discuss his journey in the entertainment world. In this episode of Celeb Savant, Jann joins me to discuss the acoustic music video for All the Way Down. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Jann Klose. So Jann, welcome back to the Celeb Savant podcast. So how are you doing and where are you in the world and what's happening?
Well, good afternoon for you. Good morning for me. I'm in New York City. It's just after 9 o'clock in the morning here. Mm-hmm. And all is well. We have a beautiful fall, autumn day here in New York. It's going to be 28 degrees today.
So we had to discuss the single All the Way Down. So Jann, tell us a little bit more about this song, All the Way Down. What inspired it specifically before we get into the video? What was it written about? And
well, it was written about a specific situation with a specific person.
Yes.
And I always say the song really is at the core. Like when you write a song, sometimes it takes a while for you to notice what it's about. Mm-hmm. As you're writing it, you have an idea of it's about this situation, it's about this person. But then as it evolves and as you finish the song and as you start playing it live, other ideas come because of the reaction of the audience. Yeah. So songs are magical that way because they take on different shapes and different reactions depending on who's in the room listening to them. It's always weird when you play the song by yourself, you think, oh man, and then it's very powerful because it's your baby, and then you play it in a room for people and everything changes, the feeling changes. I don't know what it is about that, but music does this. So I always thought the song is about learning to say no. Really learning to say no, which is a very difficult thing for us to do because we have, I think as humans, we have difficulty making choices. We just do. It's like we can't decide, where we're going to go for dinner, which is an almost embarrassing problem to have, but we do. And when it comes to relationships and love and feelings and connection, it's the same. We have difficulty making decisions when it comes to people, and so the song really is about holding out until you just can't hold out anymore.
So it's interesting. You mentioned about when you're playing it live. So as we know with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, everyone processes information differently and experiences information differently, whether it's music, visual, or anything like that. So when you're playing it live and you're understanding that people are processing the song in a different way that you do, or you hear, or you feel, does that change the way you feel about it completely? Or do you still understand, okay, this is the way I understand it and processing it, and it's just the way that the people receiving it are processing it in their mind?
Both.
Okay.
So I played the song live last night in New York City at a club here, a legendary music club here called The Bitter End in the West Village on Bleecker Street in Manhattan. And with my co-writer on it, Alex Forbes. She had a show and she invited me to come up on stage and do the song. And it was like that, it's still the song, but there is a feeling that you get every night or in every room that you play it in, that's just a little bit different, which is
Okay.
why people, I think, play songs over and over and over.
Okay.
The beautiful thing about what I'm doing in this case is it's just this one last night was just me and a guitar, which is
Yeah.
the acoustic version, and the music video that we did in Mexico last month is the same, so there's no click track. It's just me, the voice, guitar, and it can feel very different anytime you play it because you're going to play it differently every night. There's a subtle difference in tempo. There's a subtle difference in how your voice feels or how the room feels, what the weather is like.
Yeah.
So it's a new experience every time, which is the beauty of when a song takes on a life, which this has.
So you mentioned a word, click track. For those listeners who do not know what that is, what is that?
It's something that some people need to keep tempo.
Okay.
Some musicians can't live without it. It's become very normalized these days because so much music is now being produced in the home.
Okay.
And not in the studio with a live band. The click track that keeps the tempo and tells everybody, don't go slower, don't go faster than this, is can also be very useful because you can take that same track and you can create a remix of it, and it's going to be the same. You can quantize. There's a lot of things that you can do with the help of computers, but I personally like to have the human touch, the connection with the song, the playing of the instrument, play the larger role. That's not the case for everybody. It's not the case for every style of music. That's okay. There's room for everything. There's room for everyone, but that's what the click track does.
So I love the acoustic version, and the acoustic version actually, and I love him as well. It reminds me actually of a Richard Marx song. So I was listening to it. I was like, this makes me feel of Richard Marx. And I was thinking, this is super cool. Let's move on to the music video. What was it about Mexico which aligned with you thinking, okay, cool, I want to perform or create the music video in Mexico?
Well, I have to credit my super agent in South Africa, Mel.
Okay.
Mel Conradi, she actually floated the idea to me because I had a show in San Miguel de Allende in Mexico in August. And she said, why don't you film a music video while you're there? And I thought, that's a brilliant idea because it's a beautiful place. It's an old colonial town. And so I made a connection there with a local director and named Eugenio Mayafert. That's his name. And he and I just connected and brainstormed and we shot the whole thing in like 2 hours and just walked around the city and it was very easy to find spots. And the center of the town, it's very beautiful. And the center of town is filled with mariachis, which are street musicians. Mm-hmm. They just walk around the town square all day long and they make a living. It's really beautiful to see. So we thought, okay, I'll slip into this role of a street musician. Okay. Just film everything and then we'll edit it together. And he did a fabulous job. It's a beautiful video. So what actually happened is I started playing in the street and people started coming up to me and handing me cash. And which wasn't really the idea, we were like, thank you. I didn't say no, but at the same time, we're filming a music video. I'm not actually doing this, but so it was life imitating art, art imitating life. And so it was a great experience.
How much input did you have in the end result? Was it completely collaborative, or did the director guide you on where you were going?
That's a great question. I thought I was going to edit it myself, actually. I thought I was going to do my own edit. And then I said, why don't you do a director's cut and see what we get? And he sent me his version and it stuck. So that the version that you see on YouTube, which is now at, I think, over 60,000 views already in 2 weeks. The version that you see on YouTube is the first edit. There was no other edits. So, he nailed it. And I think it's because him and our AD, our assistant director, Anisha Anand, we had such a good time doing it. And so I think it is just one of those things where it just clicked.
And the people that are in the video, in the end result, were those the people bringing up money and that part was actually cut out? Or were those different people?
No, we kept all of that. So you see people filming me, or you see the people walking. You see me walking on the square. You see me playing for just, people get engaged, in it. And I mean, it was lovely. It was a great time.
There was that lady in that square sitting on the bench, that elderly lady. So were there any people that you were in the camera who didn't want to be on the end result, or were they all happy to be filmed and, seen?
Yeah, no one complained about being in the video. In fact, I got messages on my Instagram from people that were in the video that found themselves in the video, because what we did after the shoot is we said, hey, keep an eye on my YouTube. You may end up in this video, just FYI. We wanted to make sure nobody would do what you just suggested, which is say, I don't want to be in this.
Yeah.
So we let people know. And they were all very happy about it.
Okay. And how big is that? That town looks very small. How many people actually live there?
It's a small town. I think the population is, I think it's under 100,000. It's relatively, it's not that small.
Okay.
So I'd have to actually look it up, to be honest, to give you an exact number. I don't know.
That's okay.
It's big enough that it feels not tiny. Yeah. It's beautiful, beautiful place.
And I noted, when you were standing by that colorful wall as the background, the video angles and the cinematography sort of had an interesting way of movement. There was this, it moved in a sort of, I'm not sure if the word is jerky, but there was a sort of a different way it moved compared to the rest of the video. What was any specific intention?
Well, I'd have to ask Eugenio that, but the way he shot we shot everything on an iPhone.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was very impromptu. It's all iPhone. So he had an aide, but that's just the way it came out. Okay. I don't think some of it that wasn't even intentional. It was just the lighting, but we shot in the middle of the day, so we had great light the whole time.
What do you enjoy about filming music videos?
For me, I love making videos, and I've made, I don't know, a dozen now, I think. And I think for me, it's the visual aspect of it. When it comes to music, when I write a song, when I finish a song, there's a visual aspect that pops into my head. I start visualizing and imagining what the characters in the song are doing during the song, or where I picture it. It becomes visual for me very quickly. So I like making videos to express another angle of the song, and they're so common now. They're so easy to do. Shouldn't say easy. I mean, it's still a lot of work, and it requires a lot of hours. But if you have an idea, because we had a very specific idea, how do we want this storyteller to slip into this role of a street musician, and that's how I grew up. When I lived in Hamburg in Germany. After I lived in Johannesburg, I lived in Germany as a teenager, and when I started playing guitar, I played in subway stations in Hamburg. So it wasn't that hard to just pop back into that role, and it was actually a lot of fun.
So Jann, lovely talking to you and diving into the specific video and the world of its creation. So as a final message to the listening audience, what would you like to say?
Thank you for watching it. I've gotten a lot of messages and views from South Africa. So, I miss South Africa all the time, and hope to be back next year to play some shows.